genre.
Welcome back to The Doctor's Companion. I'm Cass Fredrickson.
I'm cartoon Nick Comedes. I got weird, wiggly Charles Fleischer arms, and I eat kids.
And I'm Scott Corelli, watching this from my living room.
Hey, nice.
Nice. Today on the show, we'll be talking about Lux, the second episode of season 2?
Yep. Season 2, series 15.
Oh, that's fun because he's 15.
That's true. So this is written by Russell T Davies, directed by first-time Doctor Who director Amanda Brocchi, who looking at her stuff that she's known for. She did Girl Boss, a show called Girl Boss.
Oh shit, that's from back in the day.
Yeah, Panic at Hanging Rock, and Gentleman Jack are some of the things that she has directed in the past.
Yeah, if it's the same Girl Boss, that was the Britt Robertson Netflix series from like 2015.
I think so. Yeah, which makes sense. Like I was like looking at this and I was like, yeah, that kind of looks like that show, I guess.
You know who Britt Robertson played, Scott? In Life Unexpected, she played the character Lux.
We
did it.
We did it. Wow. Hashtag it's all connected. So Lux. What did you guys think of this one? Nick, we'll start with you.
Well, listeners, Scott, Cass, I think of this episode as sort of a sister episode to last season's The Devil's Cord. And as both of you know, as listeners know, I am a Devil's Cord girly. I love that episode. It just scratched an itch in my brain, and I really vibed with that one. And I really vibed with this one. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a big level up from last week's kind of middling premiere, Robot Revolution. Much like Devil's Cord, I really liked the swings that this episode took. Was it an absolute 10 out of 10, no notes, perfect episode? No, much like Devil's Cord, but I was really entertained by it. I loved Mr. Ring-a-Ding. I loved the costumes. I just found this to be really entertaining and fun and goofy and campy and everything that I love that this era is sort of becoming as we move further and further along. Really excited to learn what you guys think because, you know, Devil's Cord was also a pretty divisive episode. I'm guessing this one is going to be too.
Cass?
I also had a lot of fun with this. There are some things where I'm like, okay, but like for the most part, it was really fun. I was really entertained. I think that, where we kind of had some misgivings, me less so, I think, about like Belinda's character. I think that like this one kind of cements her as the companion. Much in the way that like I feel like, because like with 11th Hour introduces Amy Pond, but like Beast Below kind of like cements her as the companion. And I really liked the way that it like played with like in Devil's Cord, like it played with sound. I like the way that this played with picture a lot. It like, I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like, it's kind of like, it feels like crunchy, like in a good way. I don't know. It's like, it's like popping those like little air bubble sheets, but like an episode. And I don't know why. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it was like really fun and satisfying.
Yeah. I thought this episode was okay.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I spent more than half the episode basically until it went into like metatextual metatext. Half the episode just kind of feeling like, are we sure Mark Gatiss didn't write this?
Ooh.
That's kind of how I felt
burn.
for the first half of this.
Wow.
Just everything felt really on the nose and campy in a bad way to me. And like characters not acting like real people a lot. And you know, eventually like I came around on it because it got so crazy and kooky about halfway through that I was like, okay, all right, like I think I can figure out what wavelength this episode is working on and kind of vibe with it at that area. But yeah, it was like them arriving in the middle of the night like where there's no one around, and then like going to a diner and then like explaining like segregation, and like I just it was like nonstop like Gatiss vibes for the first half of this for me. I don't know why that's what I was thinking, but that's kind of how I felt. I don't know what the hell kind of cartoon Mr. Ring-a-Ding is. Like I mean, like, I get that he's like a Flesher inspired, you know, like inflatable tube arm man guy, kind of cartoon, but like, what are his ongoing adventures? Like, he's
going to
not
town,
actually
Scott.
the god. This is like Mickey Mouse coming to life.
Yeah,
like
it's
that's
like
or Bugs Bunny.
Lux possessing Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny.
Right. So like he existed before this. So like, what are his ongoing adventures? Does he just walk up to random people and just be like, "Don't make me laugh"? Like that's it. That's what he does. Okay.
I'm going to town. What a
yeah. I sure am going to town. That drove me fucking crazy.
Scott's hungry for the Mr. Ring-a-Ding lore.
I am. I'm sorry. Like, I need to know what this cartoon is in order to like buy in. So I had a little trouble buying in.
That's
because it just felt half baked in that way of like, I don't know, he's a fucking cartoon. Shut up.
What are they always
like?
doing?
Eat your fucking candy, you fucking child. That's kind of how I felt for the first half of this, and that bothered me because it just felt like, I don't know. Russell T Davies can sometimes be like, it's a kid's show. Stop asking so many fucking questions. And I'm like, and so like, then he puts the Doctor Who fans in who are asking too many questions and like making fun of them while also being like, but they're good, aren't they? Aren't they nice? Aren't they nice? Anyway, fuck these people. And like, it all felt a little like, he has a little bit of a mean streak in him, and every time it comes out, like that little bitchy mean streak that he has sometimes, it really like it grates on me a little bit. And this one has a little bit of Russell T Davies bitchy mean streak that I don't love about his writing of Doctor Who, because it's almost like, because when he has that in like It's a Sin or Years and Years or the political show that I forget the name of that he did, those are because they're shows for, you know, quote unquote for adults, like he's able to go like all the way with that bitchy mean streak in a way that feels like narratively satisfying. But here it's just like, tee, I'm gonna put a little bitchy mean streak in here, and I'm just like, buddy, like, it just, if you're not going to go for it and really like give it to us, or like, you know, really like, you know, shit on the fans the way you seem to want to, I don't know. It just doesn't, it didn't, I don't know. This one, it bothered me. There's a lot of this that bothered me in this one. And then my biggest pet peeve outside of the lack of Mr. Ring-a-Ding lore, is the fact that this is taking place in the 1950s in Miami, and they're in a movie theater that has stadium seating. What?
Oh.
That was not a thing that existed before like
It's all
1998.
flat. Yeah.
Yeah, 1998 is when I remember going to my very first stadium seating in Florida, where I lived, which is where this takes place. And everyone was like, "Oh my God, state of the art stadium seating, the whole thing." And this has stadium seating, and I'm like, I don't. That's nope. That didn't exist in the 50s. No.
So
Yes.
I see your anachronism, and I'm wondering if, because we've introduced the idea of like things not being real, like whatever, and because spoilers, Mrs. Flood is present at the very end. So I'm wondering if that like we're leading up to like this big thing, because we know that the finale is called The Reality War, right? So like, are all of these anachronisms like leading to something?
That'd be cool.
That would be cool, but I feel like in order for that particular one to pay off in that way, someone would have had to call that out, and no one did. It was just kind of taken for granted in the episode that like this is what a movie theater looks like, because everyone working at the show at this point probably doesn't even remember flat theaters. So yeah, I don't know. It was really it's such a stupid thing to get under my skin, but it really got under my skin.
It's really
Well,
funny.
you used to work in a movie theater.
Yeah.
It's really funny though. Like I mean, my guess is that it was maybe like practical choice of like, well, we need, they filmed in here, so they had like equipment and crew people like inside, or maybe they like, hey, look, here's what it would look like, and they're like, that looks shitty, we want it to have this kind of cool stadium look or whatever. But watching Doctor Who Unleashed this week, there is a moment, Scott, incredibly, where the host, the BBC host, is interviewing Ncuti Gatwa, and he's like, but I do have a bit of a gripe about look how much legroom we have. This wouldn't be the way that it was. Look how luxurious. I would kill for this. And Ncuti was like, I didn't build it. I don't know what like, yeah, I guess.
Why are you talking about this?
Yeah.
But it's so I was like,
funny.
oh, that's so funny. Yes, you and the BBC host are on the same wavelength, Scott.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, I like parts of this. I wish that it just, I don't know. All of the stuff that I like about it, I'm like, what does this have to do with the light guy? Like, what does and then that makes me wonder, it has nothing to do with Lux, and actually has to do with like Mrs. Flood and her being there. The whole like metatextual stuff, like maybe her being there and being like a god of reality or something allowed them to like break through the screen and all of that. And that wasn't just like a light thing, because that doesn't really make any sense. And I find the ending of it like, okay, I guess that worked. Okay, sure.
A trick of the light.
Yeah, because he was like really into the moonlight at the beginning, but then it was like the sunlight made him like grow into like the space baby from 2001 or something.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah, I don't know.
She just keeps making gods this era.
Yeah, that's fine. I do want to like we'll need to like at some point check in on the pantheon of Discord to see where we're at now, who's on the board and who is yet to appear. But yeah, but we'll need to we'll check back in on that later in the episode.
Cool.
But yeah, so I do agree about Belinda. I think Belinda's great in this. I think she's like a great companion. I think that she's a stronger, more like I hate to use the word like generic, but like she feels more like a companion should feel than I think Ruby ever did. Ruby had that problem of like being like almost like a little sister, or like I don't know, like she had like a different, didn't quite feel like a companion to me, never quite really fit. But I think Belinda feels like a companion, because it's like she doesn't feel like I don't know how to explain what I mean, I guess.
Well,
but there's something, she's much more companion-ish to me than Ruby is with this episode. I don't know. What did you guys
maybe
think?
we'll get there. Okay, Cass, any thoughts on that before
I like that she like challenges him, and like maybe that's like the dynamic, because like Ruby I feel like just kind of followed along more, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, I don't know. I know what you mean, though.
there's a moment, because I think Avery on the Discord, they mentioned the moment at the end of Robot Rebellion where Ruby kind of admonishes the Doctor for like doing a DNA scan without her consent, and like appreciating that moment of kind of like, oh yeah, wow, he's done that before, and we've never even thought to think of it as like invasive or inappropriate. And to skip to the end, there's a moment towards the end of the episode where the Doctor is like, do you trust me? And Belinda's like, yeah, I do. Like, I didn't before, but like, I really do now. And like, I think like she kisses his hand, or the Doctor kisses her hand, and it affected me. I could feel, I kind of like swelled up a little bit. And I was like, oh, I don't even know if I would have gotten here emotionally if she wasn't sort of more, not antagonistic, but more like, yeah, just kind of like challenging the Doctor. The fact that they are now at this place where potentially they could be more of a unit going forward. It's kind of like, even though it's only 2 episodes, I did kind of like this little 1-2 arc of like, the Doctor had to earn Belinda's trust. They weren't just like immediately BFFs. And and like, we'll get to like, her learning more about the Doctor's circumstances and the Gallifrey of it all. But I was like, oh yeah, wow, I kind of almost now appreciate where she was at in Robot Revolution, now that like this is where it was headed.
Yeah. Alan Cumming does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So
he sounded like he was having fun.
Yeah, it definitely sounded like he was having fun for sure.
No, please.
No, go ahead.
Well, they so on the Doctor Who Unleashed, he recorded his lines in New York City, where I assume he's living currently. And they were able to use his voice as like a reference for the animators. So there's some kind of like his facial expressions and stuff like that. But there's a moment where they're interviewing RTD, and he's like, I was a little bit, like, he was in Witchfinders. That was pretty recent. Like, but it's just his voice, so it's okay. It's okay. But then they cut to a scene from Witchfinders, and like a little clip, and just the color grading of that era. And there's a part where it's like, I'm King James, and Jodie Whittaker's like, whoa, it's King James. And it was just like, wow, we were really going through it back then. Like,
man.
And that's like one of the better episodes for me. But even I was like,
yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. You're so
that's
right.
So funny.
Man, that's brutal. The what was I gonna say? The you're
Don't Make Me Laugh. You were talking about how that never really worked.
Oh, right, the Don't Make Me Laugh. Yeah. So the Don't Make Me Laugh thing, which seems to be like, it's a good reveal in the episode, but going back to my issues with the Mr. Ring-a-Ding lore, or lack of lore, is that like before the moon even hits, he says, "Don't make me laugh" in the cartoon.
Right.
And I'm like, well, hold on. Is that his catchphrase? And is it just a coincidence that that is this character's catchphrase, and also a big reveal in terms of him being part of the Pantheon? And also, I'm now realizing that the ha 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 thing is just a rerun of the beat, the beat of the no. I mean from original RTD1, the beat from that was like the master seeing
the drum beat.
Yeah, the time stream. Whoa. Yeah. Ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum. Yeah, that thing. It's just a rerun of that. And so that's yet another thing that is just sort of like rerunning on this RTD2 era. thing, which I will be fine with, and it will be all forgiven if it ends up being a reveal that like, yeah, oh my God, I'm just repeating myself. like he realizes that this is just a rerun and like realizes that there's like a god responsible for it or something like that. I think that would be interesting. But I don't know if it's on purpose or not. I'm just not sure.
Do you think that he is allowing himself to just kind of use repeated narrative stuff because of that one line where it's like where the toy maker is talking about how he is it like I made a jigsaw of your history or something like that? You know what I'm talking about? Like so he's just like, well, stuff's gonna repeat, I guess.
Yeah, maybe, or yeah. So I don't know if it's that, or if he even realizes that it's happening, because it's just like, how often do we have? I mean, literally, like Aaron Sorkin is known for having whole ass lines of dialogue that he just repeats in all of his shows, and people are like, does he realize he's doing this, or
like Sorkinisms? Yeah,
the Sorkinisms, exactly. So like, I just wonder too if it's like, and Russell T Davies is almost as prolific as Aaron Sorkin in terms of like writing, because in England you write your own shit a lot. So I'm wondering if it's a little bit of that. Maybe it's just like
RTD schisms.
These are the things that he's interested in, and so it's just they're circling back because that's just how his brain works. I don't know. It's it's certainly comfy. I'm not saying that it's not. It's just things that I'm noticing that I'm like, I can't tell if this is bothering me or if it's just something I'm noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I would be so down for later in the era, or even in eras to come, if just like if a character is just watching a Mr. Ringading cartoon like in the background or something, just to have him like start to become like a fixture of the universe, just as like a reoccurring Easter egg kind of deal of like,
right.
Like, I really like Little Miss Sunshine, or her deal. She was really cute. I liked her voice.
Sure. Nick, what is her deal? Please explain.
Well, she appears to be on standing on the road while he's going to town. So presumably she is leaving town, perhaps.
Okay, great. Seems like a great cartoon series of cartoons. Really entertaining stuff.
I'm going to town.
I think the other reason this episode gave me like mad Gatiss vibes was because that projectionist is the most Mark Gatiss character to ever not been written by Mark Gatiss. Like that dude is. I'm surprised Gatiss didn't play that character, to be perfectly honest.
Okay, so the whole time I was like, man, this actor looks incredibly familiar. So we looked it up afterward, and Norman was like, oh, he plays Thomas Wayne in Batman Begins. And I was like, that's it. That's the one. And I was like, man, he loses his wife in both
Wow.
That's crazy. Mr. Pie.
That's true.
It's funny you bring up.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Was the other thing too. I was waiting for like a Magpie thing, because that was also a 50s episode with the TV and the movies. Like, and also that was a Gatiss episode. So I wonder if that had something to do with my Gatiss vibes in this as well. But like, I was like, what is going on? Like the whole time I was watching this, I was like, what is going on?
It's funny you bring up Mark Gatiss. I confirmed this morning after having a feeling the first time I watched the trailer, but I can confirm that Mark Gatiss is in the Fantastic Four movie. That's him as the talk show host.
Oh yeah, that's him in the opening.
Yeah. I was like that.
Yeah, he's the TV host.
I was like, that looks a lot like Mark Gatiss. And then this morning, I looked it up and I'm like, oh shit, it was him. What a career that man has.
Yeah, Mark Gatiss. Yeah,
one of the greats.
He has a lot of fans that make stuff and put him in it. Because I guarantee you, he did not audition for that. He probably just got a phone call.
That's so wild to me.
Marvel Studios on the line for you, sir.
I suppose. I don't have anything else to do.
Put him through, Chiefs.
Sure.
And I am shooting the new Mission Impossible in the summer, so perhaps I can do this in the fall.
Oh man.
Oh,
got
loved both of their costumes in this.
Mhm.
In particular,
Yeah.
Belinda's dress. The costume designer said she was inspired by Anita's dress in West Side Story. That kind of like
Oh, yeah.
50 flowies vibe. I loved her wig.
Yeah.
Her wig was really fun. Just a great look.
Yeah. Really, really great look for her. Good look for good enough look for the Doctor. I kind of like. I feel like they could have done something a little more fun with his outfit, but it was fine. But hers was definitely the showstopper
Mhm.
outfit for sure.
Like his look was almost
Um,
exactly like what he wore in Devil's Cord. Just kind of like a blue.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it just wasn't it pinstriped in that, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Let's see. I weirdly think my favorite set in this episode was the diner.
Mm.
That was the one that felt the most like the 50s to me. So I liked that set. I thought that was good. Okay, so the I guess let's talk about them getting sucked into everything. Sucked into the thing and becoming cartoons, and then 3-dimensional cartoons, and then which this episode presupposes that CGI cartoons are inherently better than 2-dimensional.
We're becoming more
cartoons.
3-dimensional and more nuanced. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you know it's good, is because it looks like this. Which, by
Paid
the way,
for by Disney. No, I'm just kidding.
the fucking live action Mr. Ring-a-Ding is the most horrifying thing I've ever fucking seen
I
in my
hated it.
life.
I hated it.
I liked
Yeah.
how
Awful.
I don't know if this was intentional, but he reminded me of, like those things you see going around online, or maybe used to, where it's like, here's what Squidward would look like, or here's like
Yes.
live action Homer Simpson, and it always
Homer.
looks
Yeah.
cursed.
Mhm.
Like,
Yes.
Mhm.
it kind of reminded me of that.
Yes. Oh, it definitely reminded me of that. It was cursed. Absolutely cursed. Nightmarish. Yeah, so the sort of Hanna-Barbera animation that turns into like vaguely 3-dimensional animation, and then they turn into themselves. What did we think about all of that business?
So I found the way they filmed it to be interesting. They like filmed them performing this live on like in front of a green screen with like microphones in front of them. So that was really Varada Shatu and Trudy Gatwa being like, we have to get out of here, or like, whoa, my arms. And they were kind of like, because I remember you were sort of pre-dreading how big they sounded, and so I thought it was interesting that they weren't like in a booth doing that. They were like kind of acting it out, recording it live. But Cass, what did you think?
Yeah, no, I was gonna bring up the like quote unquote like the voice acting, because like when they're 2D, it's just like, oh, jinkies, like, and then like when they like get some like cell shading or whatever, like they start talking normally again, and I'm like, oh, that's clever. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I didn't mind it with the context of what was going on. I thought
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was good. Yeah, in retrospect, that was good. So yeah, I liked all of that, but it does suffer from that little bit of like Russell T Davies, like, if we wish really hard, things will be different now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then they
start pulling on the film
do?
strips. Well, because
they start pulling on the film strips.
Well, so when they're doing 2D, Belinda's like, oh no, like I'm never gonna see home again, and this sucks. And then like, boop, like her little hand turns real, and 15 is like, oh, if we, you showed dimension and that gave us dimension, so we just have to start being vulnerable. And he's like, I don't want to take you to Gallifrey, or I like that joke at the beginning where she was like, Time Lordia, and he's like, oh, I wish it was called Time Lordia. And that's kind of cool, because going back to Joy to the World, I like when the Doctor does get to show a little bit of growth, and how kind of he isn't so cagey about the Gallifrey of it all, and is able to admit this to Belinda of like, yeah, I'm the last one of my kind, and that makes me sad. And Belinda kind of, accepts that, or kind of like, oh, I see you. Did either of you did that moment ring a ding true for you?
Well, no, because I like that. I like that 15 in general is just like a more emotionally vulnerable, especially coming off of 13, who is perhaps like the least emotionally vulnerable doctor. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like we'll get there in a second. But they okay, so then they pull down the thing and then they show up back in the theater, but now they're in like a movie about race relations. Because the lady who was super nice to them in the diner shows up and is like, I didn't trust that black guy. Let's go shoot him.
I don't know how they do things in the Caribbean, ma'am, marm.
Yeah. And then the doctor's just like, you're wearing a New York police officer outfit. I don't buy this for a second. We're still in the thing. And then pulls down the frame again. And then they're in a white frame. And then they're like, we need to stop moving forward because that's all we're doing with the moving of the frame. So instead we need to go out. And then they push on the glass and then go crawl out of a TV. And then there's like Doctor Who fans watching Doctor Who. And it's interesting because he asks what their favorite episode is, and they all say Blink, which is a really funny joke about how unoriginal Doctor Who fans are, and how Angie Russell T Davies probably is. Everyone's favorite episode.
I like
is
that
one
joke
not
too.
written by him.
Yeah, I just appreciated that of 15 being like, really, like we met the Beatles, the one where I'm on a mine. That one was really good, right? Blink. It's like,
yeah.
I think it's funny that the one where he's on a landmine is also Stephen Moffat though. So like,
yeah.
But it's also funny because none of those episodes had come out yet when they were filming this.
What the fuck? Oh.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's true.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's pretty funny too. But it's also funny to me that he seems to know what Blink is without having to just describe it, even though he doesn't live his life in episodes. They're like,
that's true. He's like, oh, so like, I'm not even in that one. Jesus, yeah.
I'm barely in that one. Like, wait, what? So I thought that was funny. But yeah, what do we think about this whole Doctor Who fans thing? This little side trip into like metatext.
I love their costumes. I love the Beep the Meep shirt that one of them was wearing.
Yeah, I need that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And then like one had the Fez and she had like the Cybermen, but like I said, Tesco's, I think. Or
Telos.
Telos. Yeah.
Telos. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that makes more sense than what Tesco's. And then he had like the scarf. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I was like, this is silly fun and very supernatural.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, no, I think it's cute. Like I didn't interpret it as being like mean-spirited. Like I was just like, it was just like, yeah, we're going to poke fun at our fans, but also like the doctor like cares about them like by the end of their little tea party, you know? So I didn't take it to be like, no, these guys suck.
Yeah. He does. He sheds his single tear.
Yeah.
In that scene. I literally thought we were going to get out of this one without the single tear, and then it happened. I was like, God, are these going to come back? Like, is this setting something up? Like, is he going to like go his like 3 or 4 seasons and he's going to like beat the final big bad because he cries a single tear that has blah, 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 blah in it or something. And then that's going to like save the universe.
It'd be funny if one of them was like, oh, look, his single tear.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I think to me an example of something that I remember feeling mean-spirited and kind of like the vibe that Scott was talking about at the beginning that I remember being like, that's kind of fucking weird, is that episode of Sherlock where there was like a Sherlock fan club and you had that one girl who was like shipping Sherlock and Moriarty, and then she gets like admonished and being like, "That's stupid. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard of, idiot." I remember being kind of like, "Moffat, are you okay? Like, what's what's up with this?" And so that's kind of what.
Wow, I don't even remember that happening in that show.
It was when they're
Wow.
sharing their Reichenbach Falls theories of how Sherlock could have, and she's like, and then they kiss, and they're like, "What? No, we're not queer baiting. Why would we be like, you are though?" Like,
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just because like they were just depicted as like such losers. Like it wasn't like that was the thing. That was the reason that it was like they could have cast anybody in these roles, and they cast very specifically like not cool looking people as these fans, that it was like I just it felt like pointed in a way that I was like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I like it just
like Big Bang Theory nerddom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I can
Yep.
see that.
Yeah, it was like, and make sure they're all on the spectrum. And I was like, oh, okay, like, I mean, fine. Like, you can people can be on the spectrum, but like, why do all three of them need to be on the spectrum? And
What's
also,
with this
what spectrum?
podcast?
They're not even real, as it turns out. Like,
look at this picture. They don't like it.
God. So I don't know.
He does
man.
listen to our podcast.
Oh yeah, if their
I
names
don't
were Scott,
know.
Nick, and Cass, that would have been like.
I mean, all would be forgiven if that were the case. But then they would be like, so they'd be huger nerds at that point if it was like specifically attacking us.
Hey, Doctor, why haven't you done a Merlin episode yet?
Yeah, like
Yeah. That's the stupidest thing I've ever.
I'm not Merlin.
Is the Ronnie going to be in this season?
Shut up! No!
Shut up!
Stop asking about the Ronnie.
Shut up about the Ronnie.
Oh,
And I liked
man.
I like one of them at the very beginning being like, "Oh, this is so Galaxy Quest." Like that was fun.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. I guess like, and this is why I don't think them and all of this like metatextual stuff has anything to do with Lux, is because they come back at the end and still exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right after Mrs. Flood is like, check this out.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have something to do with her, not with Lux.
Yeah, no, that's valid. That's valid. I think them being alive at the end, I mean, it was cute. It was funny. It was like a fun little sweet note to the end of the episode. But that was my most like, I do believe in fairies moment of like, oh yeah, none of this really does mean jack all. It really is just kind of all a farce, which I think was kind of also a lot of people's issue with Devil's Cord, is just kind of like, but what if we didn't have to turn our brains off? Like, what if this did kind of go up a notch and was actually like really thought out, and you could go back through it with a comb and actually appreciate the details of the game the way you can when you watch other episodes, or even something like like Baby Driver, where you're like, oh shit, like he's doing the lyrics of the Needle Drop. That's kind of cool. I didn't catch that the first time,
Yeah. So when what is his name, Mr. Pie?
Pye.
Yeah, Mr. Pie.
Mr. Pie. When Mr. Pie, the projectionist, when the ghost of his dead wife gives him a matchbook to go light the
Kill yourself.
the fucking film canisters on fire. I was a little confused by how that all went down, because he does it and he lights like 3 or 4 matches and just like tosses the matches into the thing and they set on fire. And I'm like, okay, how is this going to help anything? I was like, very confused by that. And then he shuts the door and I'm like, okay. And then it just randomly explodes. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What exploded exactly? Because like they're flammable, which is why they get set on fire.
Right.
But once they're set on fire, what is it that's exploding?
Mhm.
How does it go in Inglourious Bastards? Like, why does that explode?
Does it explode? I thought it just burns down.
Does it just burn
Yeah,
down?
I thought it just burned down. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it just burned down. Like, it would make more sense if he was like unraveling all the film and like throwing it down the hallways and stuff like that to like
yeah.
burn it all down. But they needed to explode to let the sunlight in so that we can get the 2001 baby ending for Mr. Ring-a-Ding.
I want to go back and get a screen grab of when he's like he becomes like that meme where he's like in ecstasy, like dissolving into the universe and like fading out.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a little confused by that because I was like, weren't you that at the beginning of the story? Like before you got trapped in this cartoon? Like you were like in the moonlight or whatever? Like, weren't you already like a celestial being or something?
Yeah.
And now you're just like going back to being a celestial being? Like what happened to all your goals and wants and shit? I don't know.
Did he choose to become Mr. Ring-a-Ding, or did that happen to him against his will? Like, are we going to learn that was Mr. Flood Mrs. Flood at the end? Like,
I have no idea. That was baffling when that was all going down, and it was like
the light and the spoon or whatever, and
yeah. What are those called? Those elaborate
Rube Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg. Yeah, it was like a Rube Goldberg origin for Mr. Ring-a-Ding. I was like, what are we doing here? What's going on? I was really having trouble like tracking like what they were trying to say about everything, about what was going on here. And I also just feel like as much as the missing people is like a major factor in the narrative of this, I kind of think that this episode would have benefited from the people still being there in the auditorium and interacting with the doctor and Belinda a little bit, like in a almost midnighty kind of way, like a fun midnight, you know? Yeah. Just like the projectionist won't let them leave because Mr. Ring-a-Ding is like feeding off of them or whatever, but then but you find out it's because his dead wife, he gets to dance with her. Which I will say, we've talked about RTD's fat phobia before. And I have to say, we have to give credit where credit's due. He gave him a wife who is not conventionally like size wise, like he was talking her up. And then when she shows up, I was like, oh, that's refreshing. That felt really nice. I was like, that's great. Like she looks like a real lady, like a real person, and doesn't look like a fucking supermodel, because that's the only way we can feel bad for this guy's dead wife.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I was really happy about that. I was like, wow, you've grown. Look at that. Even though she is one of the most British people I've ever seen in my life living in Miami, Florida. But to be fair, so was Bruce Wayne's dad in this.
That was
with his little
really
glasses.
I'm obsessed
low
with
on
his
his
little
nose.
specs.
Like it was, yeah,
Holy
his little
shit.
specs made him look so fucking British.
He looks like Geppetto, which is funny
Yeah.
because like he wants, like the Lux wants to be a real boy or whatever. But like
that's
I don't
true.
know, I'm like obsessed with his tiny glasses.
Yeah.
Now I'm picturing like, what if in the flashback she was like the most 2000s Maxima looking woman of all time?
Right. Oh man.
Cool behind the scenes thing. So this theater, they found it's south of Wales, just a few blocks away from Bad Wolf Studios. So right around the corner. And this final scene where they're like all coming out of the theater, and they're like saying that there was an active hurricane was on the way, and so it was like
It's very, very Miami, Florida.
yeah.
Yes.
Vada Desete said she was like, that's actually the best acting I've ever done, because I was like fucking really cold. And so whenever we had to pretend that we were in Miami and like, oh, we did it, we survived, then they would cut and they would just like drape a huge jacket over her.
Oh yeah, because she's in that tiny dress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's fair. They probably had to VFX all her goosebumps away.
And then and yeah, I don't know. I'm digging the Mrs. Flood cameos and just how like perfunctory they seem. They're just getting,
Yeah.
and then she comes out. Fuck it, like
Yeah.
Oh, did we want
Um,
to talk about the Pantheon now that we're wrapping up?
Oh yeah. Good. So Lux is a brand new member of the Pantheon of Discord, which is really what we should call our
Yeah.
Doctor's Companion channel on our Discord. Is
Mhm.
the Pantheon
Oh
of
man, yeah,
Discord.
you're right.
The Harbingers.
Yeah, but then no one will know.
Why is it called
But
that?
what's that?
Oh.
Why is it called that?
Sorry, Cass.
What happened to the Doctor's Companion channel?
We can make it our admin tag, the Pantheon of Discord.
There we go. Yeah, we're the Pantheon.
So okay, so this is Light is a brand new one. Hasn't been mentioned before now. So this is a brand new
Lux.
member of the Pantheon of Discord, Lux. And we don't know what Lux is associated with. Like if he's associated with one of the other gods, or anything like that. But so far we have the Mara, who is confirmed as the god of beasts. We have the Maestro, god of music and child of the Toymaker, god of games. And we have the Trickster, who came from Sarah Jane Adventures, who is the god of traps, whatever that means. And then we have god of death, Sutek, and the ones that we do not have yet are Reprobate, the god of discord, and the god of spite.
Ooh.
Reprobate, the god of spite, and Censor, the god of dread. And then we have Doubt, who is the offspring of Incensor, and then we have Dread and Incensor is the god of disaster.
Ooh.
And then Incensor has two kids, Doubt and Dread, which are two other gods. I guess I would assume maybe like cousins of the Maestro. And then we have Malice, Mischief, and Misery, and Skin, Shame, and Secrets. All of those have not been claimed yet. Skin. Yep.
Wild.
Skin and Shame and Secrets. I don't know if that's one god. No, it says gods of skin and shame and secrets. This is a quote from Legend of Ruby Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. And then there's a couple that are like, I guess they're whether or not you would consider them to be canonical is a question. So we have two that were set up in comics that came out, I believe, after the last season and all of this stuff. So people think like, oh, this is related. But we have Krampus. Yes, that Krampus.
Nice.
Who is apparently the god of wishes. And worth noting that our next episode is called The Well, and the penultimate episode is called what is it? The Wishing War or something? What is it called? The Wish World.
Wish World.
Wish World and the Reality War.
Yeah, Wish World. So God of Wishes is Krampus, apparently. Which is interesting. And then we have the Scream Sommelier. How do you say that? Sommelier. Yeah, the Scream Sommelier, who is the god of fear.
Wow.
And that was in a 15th Doctor comic. Yeah. So those are all the ones that we have had so far. And what we're missing. But as Lux proves, they don't have to be previously established to show up. They'll just make up whatever they want.
How do we feel about Krampus showing up? Because Krampus to me seems like prime Christmas special material.
Yeah.
Very true.
If they do that, like, that's so funny.
Yeah, it'd be great. Worth noting, Krampus is, at least in the comic that he's from, is portrayed as reverse Santa. So he has a black beard and a let's see, hold on, let me see.
And
if
he's
I can,
rail thin.
He doesn't look like a devil.
No, he does not look like that. at all.
Cowards.
He is. Oh yeah, and he works with the goblins. Instead of elves, it's the little goblins from that episode. Yeah.
They're back.
But yeah, so he's got a black hair and a black beard, a white suit with a black belt, and then red like fur lining. So he's like the Wario of Santa. He's like Santa's Wario.
Oh wow! I just googled him.
Yeah.
Wow, who's Veronica?
Yep. Indeed. Krampus
Also appeared in Red One last year.
Yeah. Apparently he has an Austrian accent.
Like Arnold
That's funny.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So my current theory is, I mean, I think it's like a pretty safe bet that perhaps Mrs. Flood is like the god of reality. Like maybe she's like some sort of rogue god that's in hiding, and that's why she's always there. Like, you didn't see nothing. I'll fucking slit your throat.
Mhm.
You can't stab anyone.
With this episode, I have begun to believe that Mrs. Flood is the god of Doctor Who fans, essentially. Like, I think that she's going to basically, because she's like a fangirl. Like, she sees, like, oh, what, you've never seen the TARDIS before? And she's like really like into everything the Doctor does and knows everything and is always watching his adventures. And so I'm wondering, and like talks directly to us, the viewer. And so I'm wondering if she's like the god of audience or something like that. Some kind of the god of meta text. I don't know. Something like that.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what that means or where that would go story wise, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So Scott, you were kind of last week you were talking about perhaps a pattern emerging in terms of like, you know, the way RTD1 seasons tended to have a pattern, a release pattern. So this episode feels like a sister episode to The Devil's Cord, which was the second episode of series 1. This is the second episode of series 2. Also features a Harbinger. So question.
And the first episode, Robot Revolution, you could say feels like a companion to Space Babies. I mean, they're both like
retro space
futuristic,
adventures. Yeah,
right, space adventure thing. Yeah.
So question A to both of you: do we believe episode 3 will continue and be somewhat of a companion to, was it Boom?
I think so. It looks like it.
Yeah,
like looking
it has
at
that vibe.
Next week's episode, it does look like Boom a little bit. So yeah, that's interesting.
And
that is interesting.
Question B: do we think we will get another god at the end of the season, much like Sutek, or like will this be the only god that appears in series 2? You know,
I think that the more Mrs. Flood appears, I think that we are leading to whatever she is at the end of this season.
Oh yeah, she does specifically say that it's all coming to a head on May 24th or whatever.
Yeah.
So that must be her. Must be, or at least like involve her in some
Mhm.
way.
So she is directly involved with why the Doctor can't take Belinda home to May 24th. Why May 24th?
Yeah,
is
or
blocked.
is directly involved because we don't know if she's good or bad
Sure.
necessarily.
Friend or foe.
Right.
So like, she could be, even if she's not literally the White Guardian, she could be like the White Guardian equivalent of like whatever is going on in the finale.
Mm.
If it's like if she's the god of reality, then maybe they're fighting the god of like unreality or some variation of that.
Mm-hmm.
Get the light of, because we have the god of light here. Is there a god of darkness?
Maybe.
I don't know. What does that mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Much to discuss, much to think about.
Much to think about. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes, but did anyone guess Sutekh last season? Were there people who successfully guessed that?
Yes. I
There
think there
were?
were like threads on Reddit or something where it's just like,
Okay.
hey, it'd be like Sutekh.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that reminds me of the one,
All right,
one fan with the Beep the Meep shirt that was like, "Did anyone see this coming?" She's like, "I did because it leaked online."
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess they could always like rebrand the Black Guardian and the White Guardian into like reality and unreality. Monitor, anti-monitor, if you're a DC fan. Alpha and Omega, like you could probably do something with that. So maybe we'll do Black Guardian, because I do feel like there is a very low possibility that it won't be a returning villain of some sort.
Sure, like Lux
with
was
the big Sutekh reveal. Yeah. Of last season, I think it'll be another like Classic Who returning character. But I don't know that the Mara makes any sense. So I'm wondering, especially not as a one-up from Sutekh, God of Death to God of Beasts. I don't know that that doesn't feel like a raising of the stakes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be excited about it because I like the Mara more. But
sure,
we also haven't seen any like snake imagery that
Right.
I'm aware of. So
no, I don't think so.
I hope it's the Macra.
The Macra. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, I don't know. I really do think it'll be. I think it'll be a Black Guardian, White Guardian thing. That's my guess.
Put it on the board.
That would be my official guess. That's what I would put on my little ballot or whatever. Although if we're doing a copy thing, and you go back to New Who, then this is the time for him to introduce a Gallifreyan villain. Because we're matching with Series 3 with this one, because we'd be matching, I think, with David Tennant's era. We would be skipping the Eccleston era, because that didn't happen this time. The Eccleston era in this is the 15th Doctor or the 14th Doctor.
Right.
His little mini era would be the equivalent of the Eccleston era. So we had Series 2, quote unquote, last year, and this year matches up with Series 3.
Martha Jones, a doctor,
right, and a Gallifreyan villain. So could be. I'm not going to say it. Not going to say her name. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. But if there was a time to do it, this would be the time to do it. Is what I'm saying. But I don't know. Although it would be fun if like she just like went off, she like fucked off and became a god. Like that's kind of funny to me. That makes me I don't know. I just think that's a really funny thing for the Ronnie to go do. It's just
funny.
Fuck off for 40 years and become a god. That's really funny. I don't know. Anyway.
I love it. I love that we're off to the races again. I love that we're back in speculation town.
Yeah. It's my favorite part about watching Doctor Who, I think. All right. Well, I guess that's that. That's Lux. I wish I liked this more than I did, but it was fine.
Do you think you liked it more than Devil's Cord last year?
Yeah, I do. But okay. I like it more overall, but no scene. There's no the scene where the maestro takes away all sound is cooler than anything in this episode.
Yeah,
I think so. Higher highs in Devil's Cord, but I think overall I like this episode better. Overall, but because I think I think the ending of both episodes are equally as lame.
Oh, this reminded me of the moment where, like, I think the doctor like burns his hand when they're getting back.
Oh,
and
what the fuck was that?
And Belinda's like, "Oh no, your hand." And like, "No, it's okay. I've got it. But buy regeneration, honey. I was saving that just in case." And I'm like, "You were saving it this whole time? You've had that since the giggle, and you just randomly use it to heal your hand." I don't know. That was
and it was only there to set up the regeneration power so that when it's being siphoned out of him, no one's like, "What's that?"
Right.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't know if that's a Russell T Davies problem or if that was a Disney note or what, but somebody thought we were fucking idiots, and needed to be told what be reminded what regeneration was. But is what it is. Really don't like that the regeneration energy was making him into that monstrosity instead of just like a human person.
Alan Cumming.
It was a nightmare. Well, they couldn't do Alan Cumming, but because they were like scared of the Witchfinder.
That iconic episode.
That iconic episode, yeah. God, what would be the funniest like famous person for Alan Cumming's Mr. Ring-a-Ding to be turning into? I think it might be Mark Gatiss. He was just turning into Mark Gatiss.
A giant Mark Gatiss.
Well, I think at that point he'd be turning back into Mr. Ring-a-Ding like he did in this episode.
Okay.
But I mean, like when he was regenerating into like he was like, you're gonna make me real. Yeah, if he like was turning into Mark Gatiss.
Neil Patrick Harris.
That would be my favorite episode in that case. Like if he was just randomly turning into Mark Gatiss. Like
yeah. Oh man.
What is your guys' favorite episode of Doctor Who? I've been thinking about that since everyone was like, blink.
Like, what would be your if we were those three characters and the Doctor and Belinda were asking us? I think I would say Unicorn and the Wasp.
Wow,
interesting.
Yeah. Mine's the Silence of the Library, Forest of the Dead, 2-parter.
I think mine is the 11th Hour.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's good. See, none of ours are Blink.
Yeah,
Russell.
Fuck Blink.
Fuck Blink. Get over it.
Why did he know what episode they were talking about? Anyway. All right. Although we are one step closer to my dream episode of Doctor Who, which is that the TARDIS lands inside another TARDIS and they're like, what is going on? Who are these people? And then they realize they're on the set of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But it's like classic Who.
Yes.
Like I want that so bad. I don't know why I want that, but I just think that would be silly enough to work.
Wait, didn't someone fun play Patrick Troughton in Adventure in Space and Time?
Yeah, the guy, what is his name? I don't know his name. I don't even know why I'm trying to remember it.
I'll look it up.
But it's the guy from Spaced and I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, that guy,
yeah. He was in The World's End also. But yeah, it's that guy.
That'd be fun. Because his name is Reece Shearsmith.
That's it. Yep. Very famous comedian in England that, Americans are less notable over here. So sorry to our UK listeners that we didn't have that at the tip of our tongue.
Whoa, he was Norbot and Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul. Love that.
Whoa.
That horrible robot that ruined Gromit's garden.
Oh boy. All right. Well, that's Lux. Next week is The Well.
Krampus,
and
maybe?
yeah, I don't know. We'll
That'd be
see.
fun.
We'll see. It definitely has very different vibes based on the Next Time trailer. So we'll talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.